All right, so great. So I'm going to talk about the HamSCI Personal Space Weather Station introduction and updates. So this project has been going on since at least 2018 or so, sponsored by the National Science Foundation Distributed Array of Small Instruments program. And we have now gotten our second grant under that program called the DAISY 2 grant, which is a deployment grant. And that's what we're working on now. So since we first came up with the idea in 2018, the project has evolved quite a bit. And for the past number of years, I've had this single, block diagram showing this kind of unified multi-instrument thing. And that's still what we're working towards. But I think what we've learned in reality is that we are definitely doing the multi-instrument platform, but for various reasons, it's very beneficial to have each team kind of take ownership of their own instrument for now and really get that developed well, and then eventually we'll unify everything together. And using that model, each of the instruments really have begun to grow and flourish. And so now our Personal Space Weather Station program really consists of 4 separate things. And one is the Whisper Demon Grape MF-HF receiver. That is the receiver. We have its companion beacon transmitter, the Whisper Sonde HF beacon. We have the VLF receiver, which is the Whistler Catcher VLF receiver. And I've learned a lot that, you don't design VLF receivers quite the same way you design HF receivers. So there's some differences there. And then we have the ground magnetometer. And each of these different instruments are used to probe or listen to the space weather environment in a slightly different way. So I'm going to give you a brief overview of each of the instruments in this talk, and then throughout the conference, you're either going to hear oral presentations that go into details about some of these talks, or you'll have posters that go into details about some of these different instruments. And so hopefully this will give you the big picture. So the first one I want to talk about is the Whisper Demon Grape system. Now that is a really funny name, and that is because it comes from a lot of different people, again, from different projects. So when we first started the Personal Space Weather Station project, Case Western Reserve, Christina, David Kasdan, John Gibbons, they came up with this idea of what's called the Grape receiver that would listen to WWV and be able to track Doppler shifts on its signal. And so this green plot that you see here is some variation of that. So they created that receiver, the Grape 1 and then the Grape 2. At the same time, we wanted to have a software-defined radio receiver that could make those measurements, but also do many more things. And eventually it turned out that Rob Robinette, who runs the Whisper Demon program, came up with the solution for that. And that's taking what you call an RX888 software-defined radio receiver. You connect that to a Leo Bodner GPS discipline oscillator. You connect that to a Linux mini PC, and the amount of information and utility you get out of this system is incredible. So this is a Whisper Demon and a Grape type receiver all mixed in together. So what makes this so special? This RX888 receiver, it has a 64 megahertz instantaneous bandwidth, can stream over USB 3. It can support a 27 megahertz external reference clock, and it's a 16-bit receiver. It only costs about $250. And basically, it would just take 64 megahertz of samples from your IQ samples from your antenna and spit it out to your computer. And that was an incredible thing. Well, what do you do with that? The next thing you do with that is you pipe that into a program called KA9Q Radio. And that's developed by Phil Karn, KA9Q, who I know Phil is here at the conference. Raise your hand, Phil. Is right over there. So he is the person who figured this out. What he said is, I can take a fast Fourier transform of the entire band, then I can select just the individual bins I want, and I can inverse transform that. And we can do this now on these very modest, inexpensive mini PCs, and we can give you almost arbitrary number of slice receivers, with almost arbitrary bandwidth for very minimal computing cost. And this was a real game changer. So Phil did that, and then Rob Robinette piped created the Whisper Daemon program, which is a Linux server program that will take those slice receivers from KA9Q radio, and he will pipe them into the Whisper and FT8 decoders, and now into IQ recorders and all of these other things, and be able to collect all of that data and send it back to their server. You can also connect to this system the web interface, web SDR interface. So while it's collecting all of this data and making whisper spots on all of the HF bands and MF bands, and even via some of the low frequency bands, all simultaneously, you can at the same time use this as a shortwave receiver that you are listening to either at your desk or anywhere else in the world. We have our students on a project sponsored by the Frankfurt Radio Club developing a DXing and contesting dashboard, and that's Owen and Liam are over there. And this gives you a real-time display of exactly what's on there. And then here is Christina's famous cartoon that shows WWV sending signals to WEDU at Case Amateur Radio Club, showing how that the path goes up and down, and that can cause frequency changes. And then here's my plot that I made from my setup at my house during the eclipse. And you can see these beautiful traveling atmospheric disturbances going through the night, and then the eclipse signature on multiple bands. It's absolutely incredible how much information this single system can give us. So where is this going in the future? We already have a system that works. We're working on deploying it. Emma Moran over there is working on with Michael Howen on documenting all this and working with Gary to actually send it out to people. We have people like Paul Elliott working on putting in GNSS precision timing into the system, which we don't have yet, but that is coming. Paul and Tom McDermott are also coming up with a replacement for the RX888, where it's Tapper designed hardware, or Turn Island designed hardware in both single channel and 4-channel systems, so that we have a little bit more control over our hardware. We're now talking about doing meteor scatter, so we're wondering, does it make sense to extend our observations all the way up to 64 megahertz? The system, the RX888 is capable of doing it. We'd have to make sure that all of our software and the antennas and the filters in line are configured correctly for that. But those are all things that we're thinking about doing with this. What's that? The answer is yes. The answer is yes. So there's a lot of motivation for doing that. I also want to say that the grape there's still life for the original grape too, because even though I don't have it mentioned here, there's interest in having like a physical kit that people can build and learn from and solder. And so Bob Reif is starting to work on developing a through-hole version of that. So he's going to be talking to John Gibbons. And so there's a lot of interesting things. Here's the Whisper Sonde. This is developed by Paul Elliott. It will beacon whisper packets on 6-8 bands at a time. All GPS locked. Here's Jonathan Rizzo's Whistler catcher system, and you can see that he's over here at my house at our Antarctic research training facility, working on the system. And then we have the magnetometer system as well. And I'm putting this here because this is a ham radio conference, so you may not know why we care about magnetometers. But how many ham radio operators know that generally if you have a high KP index, something funny goes on with the radio propagation? Lots of people. That KP index is measured by ground magnetometers. It's measuring all sorts of current systems in the magnetosphere. So yeah, we have a ground magnetometer project to do that. All of this data is collected, goes to a central database run by Bill Engelke in the University of Alabama, and we are Christina is working with Bill to I don't want to say redesign, but make significant improvements to this. And Christina has a poster about that you can go talk to her about. We are working on deploying about 20 to 25 additional stations beyond the ones that are already out there. This is kind of our goal map. And I only have a couple minutes left, so I just want to highlight a few pictures of installing these systems that we did over the past year. Last year, we installed one at the Jenny Jump Observatory, which is in New Jersey, halfway between NJIT and Scranton, and we made the cover of QST. So thank you very much for that. And then K3LR, Tim also very graciously offered to host the system at his house, and we got students to go there and actually install that. And it was just a wonderful trip. There's now a dedicated Mouse House building that is at K3LR's that's just dedicated to HamSCI projects. And Gary McKeaton and Christina Collins went over there to finish getting that all set up. And after our installation project, we got to tour K3LR, operate, and kind of be part of the team. So it's been a really great ride. I hope you enjoy learning about the rest of the personal space weather station. All right.